Salutări din București și bine ați venit pe Încă Ceva. Numele meu este Marius, pentru cei care nu știu acest canal. Pe Încă Ceva există foarte multe chestii legate de entertainment. Voi dați timp, iar ei trebuie să vă dea lucruri de calitate. Iar azi avem o serie de interviuri, press și anchetul pentru Witcher, pentru sezonul 3 din Witcher, și o să stăm de vorbă cu doi dintre producătorii principali ai serialului, plus The Master Armor Smith, cel pe care l-am văzut de asemenea când am fost pe set visit. În curând o să vină și clipurile de pe set visit, pentru că dacă nu știați, anul trecut, timp de 2 zile, am fost pe platourile Witcher, am avut full access, am stat de vorbă cu toată lumea, am vorbit și cu producătorii, am vorbit și cu actorii, am vorbit și cu stunt team, am vorbit cu toată lumea. O să vină și clipuri respective. Până atunci, în schimb, 2 interviuri care s-ar putea să vă placă, mai ales cu să pună puțină lumină și în toate poveștile care circulă pe internet, cu Henry Cavill this, Henry Cavill that. Uitați-vă, The Witcher o să fie bun, fără nicio grijă. Până atunci, în schimb, evident, nu uitați că Nemira, prin site-ul nemira.ro, vă pune la dispoziție un cod încă ceva 45 pentru 45% discount pentru absolut toată colecția Witcher. Așa că dacă vreți să vă cumpărați cărțile lui Andrzej Sapkowski, dacă vreți să vă le cumpărați la un preț extraordinar de bun și numai bun pentru vacanța asta, că o să fiți plecați să faceți una alta, intrați pe nemira.ro, încă ceva 45 cod, luați-vă frumos cărțile și enjoy them for the rest of the summer. O să vă placă la nebunie, o lume fantastică, după cum o știți și din serial. La fost să-mi pierdem timpul, hai să trecem și la interviuri. Numai bine, ciao! We met on the set last year.
Yes, we did, I remember. Yes, I remember.
The man with many questions. And I got 3 more for you.
Right.
How do you do? How is it?
Good, yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, can't complain.
Have you had many questions, many interviews today?
I've done about 10 so far today, I think.
Anyway, Nick, the first question, right off. So, out of all the 10 interviews, answer again the best question. The best question you had, answer it again. Which one was it?
I suppose the one that most people are interested in is where do the ideas come from? And really the answer to that is as much of a backstory that I can get on the character, as much information as I can read on them out the scripts, any questions that the showrunner, Lauren or Tomek or someone similar can answer, and then my own backstory. I'll look at the character and make something up that fits with how they came to being, where they come from, and why they come from there, and then come forward again, and that gets me into what they look like, what their gear looks like, how nice a person they are, how horrible a person, how brutal, how friendly, and that all builds into their weapon.
And I think I asked you this also on the visit. How many of the pieces do you actually make? You know, like you actually put your hands on them and mold them, basically, you know, instead of just, you know, printing them out, basically.
Oh, we don't. We print very few. I mean, everything really, 95% of what we do is handmade. So it's handmade. I do bits and pieces myself. Sadly, I don't do anywhere as much as I'd like to. That's part of the payment for being in charge as well. I don't have the time, but I work closely with a very hand-selected team who do. You know, these guys work and do work for me. I'm very lucky to have them. We understand each other well, and we work very closely together to create the objects. And I will look at it and I'll say, no, just make that slightly longer, slightly shorter, wider, make the snarl more, make the teeth slightly bigger, you know, all of that type of thing. I have a very fixed look in my brain and I'm trying to get it as close to that as possible.
Yeah, you're the project manager, basically, beside the...
Yeah.
You know? Yes. I want to ask you one thing, because I don't know if people saw it already or they will see it. There's a big staff of a big iron staff that you had there in your inventory, and I want to ask you, like, will there ever be more hero weapons? You know, like, are you working on more of them?
Oh yes, all the time. Every season, there's new people coming along. The same as some people disappear. You know, some people are done and gone. Some people we may time jump back to, you never know. And some people are new and they're coming along. So all the time you're looking for new new hero stuff, and also to expand backgrounds. You know, I occasionally will give an army and go, well, actually, they need an axe, so that army now has an axe as well, and so on. You are looking at that kind of thing all the time for both hero and background.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you one more thing for people that, I presume a lot of people that work in the blacksmithing industry, maybe. Now,
yes.
how do you get into the industry, basically? So from the guy who makes knives and swords for friends and family and sells them on the internet, to becoming an armorer, you know, to getting to your point. How do you get
there? I didn't so I am an armorer by trade. My trade started on firearms. Started on firearms. I got myself an apprenticeship and got into that. Then various things at the military and then worked all over with it until I happened to get into the film industry. It's one of those things. It's you know yourself that your life takes turns, and you just sometimes are in a surprising place. You never thought you'd actually get there, but for me, the film industry I found I just love it. I'm lucky where I've got to. It really takes hard work and dedication, and you have to keep on pushing yourself and looking at things and going, I can do that, and then prove you can do it, and you slowly move on. But there's not many of us. It's a rarefied thing, and we all come from different places to get here.
That's the thing. It's always, I think the most interesting parts, the most interesting part about all these shows and all these productions is the fact that they create this new pools of people, if you want to, and you actually manage to grow them, and it becomes something completely new, you know. As you said, because like when you started, like what was the first movie / production you worked on?
Oh, for me, the very first set that I stepped, well, no, that's not. So I did have a brief, I did a little bit on GoldenEye for the Bond film.
Oh,
but
you just went
properly. So the first thing I ever worked on was, I think, Phantom of the Opera, the movie,
the one with Gerald Butler, basically.
Yes, that was my first. Yeah, that was the first time in the career that I has now stemmed from there. Really starting there. And then lots of experience all over. But obviously, I brought a lot of my own experience with me already, and I expanded that into working in film and TV. You know, you look at how it's done, and then you change yourself into that to suit that, as it were.
Makes sense. I want to ask you one more thing. I don't know if you can give anything away, but basically, I remember two things from your workshop. I remember the staff, like the iron staff. I won't say who it is. And there was another mace, which I think we see in the first 2 episodes being used, dwarven mace, basically. And so I want to ask you, like, for the next season, are you working on something special? Are you having one of these special items, let's say, currently?
Oh, there will be some really fun things. I obviously can't be exactly.
specific.
All I can say is there'll be some more interesting things, and not just one across the board. There'll be a lot to look at in the weapons again. Absolutely, as there is in through. I mean, there's a lot we've done, as you've said, for through, and there will be all the way through. Yes, there's always something different.
For people that don't, because Nick now can't answer this, but for people to understand, when we went on the set tour, basically there's a huge warehouse with tons of things there, and there were like 4 hyper long tables covered in weapons, like all kinds of weapons, you know. And the fact that maybe people don't realize this when they look at the show and don't realize how much work there is behind that scene, for example, you know. Just there's an episode 2, there's a fight scene basically. There's so many things happening on screen, and half of them came from you basically, like from the arrows to the axes to the swords to everything else, you know. So thank you, Nick. Thank you for doing this for us, and thank you for making it happen. And I hope people will appreciate it even more, you know.
I hope so too. That's what we do it for. So
Mhm.
it makes it better, makes it more fun. That's the guiding light for us.
Thank you, Nick. That was it for me. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you next year on the set visit.
Absolutely. Yes, I hope so.
I'll bring you some tsuika from Romania, just for you.
Thank you.
Good thing to drink. Have a nice one, Nick. Take care. Bye. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Steve.
Hello.
Tomek, good to see you again. I've been seeing you for 3 years now.
Yeah. It's
Steve,
we have story.
Exactly, we have story together. Steve, happy to meet you. I saw
Nice to meet you.
We should have had story together, but it seems this is the first time we will. So.
Pleasure.
Okay, so we're recording. First thing first, I want to ask, because I realize that every time we do these press junkets, we never actually clarify for people like, Tomek, what do you do for the show? Steve, what do you do for the show? You know, it's like Steve, producer. So, Steve, what do you do for the show? You know, Steve first.
I always describe myself, if it's in the features world, it's with the director, and if it's in the episodic world, it's the showrunner. But I always describe myself as an insurance policy against the showrunner's vision. You meet with a showrunner, you plug into what their vision is for the show, and then you do your utmost day in and day out across the whole spectrum of what it takes to produce a show to give the best representation of their vision up on the screen at the end of the day. So it's widely varying, which keeps it wildly exciting and infinitely challenging. And I couldn't imagine myself doing any other job.
I saw you worked on feature as well, on Oblivion, on the Beauty and the Beast, and on a bunch of them. So this is a question actually I want to ask you. How is the transition, you know, from feature, which is, you know, it's a one and done at the end of the day. You know, you have 6 months or a year of pre-production and then 6 months of shooting and then you're done. How is it with the show? How does it change for you, you know?
It's quite exciting. The two most significant changes are the ability for long form storytelling, which is very exciting. It's exactly why I left features, because I just wanted that sort of different creative challenge, or opportunity more than a challenge. The opportunity is long form storytelling. The challenge is the speed at which things get done in the episodic world, the speed in which the short shooting schedules, the short prep time. You got to be at the top of your game. You got to have an amazing team, which The Witcher does in spades, an amazing team of collaborators that are there with you every single day, tossing in when they need to toss in. But yeah, it's been remarkable time in episodic and really enjoying it.
Cool. So Tomek, what do you do for the show? As people will ask, what does Tomek do for the show?
So this description of being insurance policy for the vision of the showrunner, I think it's quite accurate. Usually on the day when we are shooting, it's always one of us, either me or on Steve in the tent, watching what is happening, watching what we are doing, and one of the writers. So we are like in those mini teams together, making sure that there is a consistency between episodes, there is a consistency in the story. And of course, we also have like our own like mini specializations, because usually Steve and we are taking different directors, different blocks, and we are like overseeing different parts of the world, the different parts of the job. Steve is very much into post part, which includes VFX, editing, this whole part. I'm probably a little bit closer to the story, but also I'm very deeply in stunts. So usually when there is like a second unit doing some stunts, I'm the producer who is sitting with the stunts and overseeing the action. But again, this is all interchangeable because it doesn't mean that Steve never works on the
If your
story. He
job needs to
actually
get
works
done.
very, very often.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that I don't work on the VFX related stuff, because of course my background is also in VFX. So we are changing the roles all the time, but our main job is making sure that there is a consistency there, because we are actually lucky. We are on the project from the first days of prep, where some of our directors are coming just few weeks before the shoot, and they have to get up to speed, up to the production very, very quickly.
So you could say that the producer is not, I mean, the name doesn't actually, that's the thing. The name doesn't give it sufficient gravitas,
Because it's very generic.
Yeah, it's like producer. What does he do? He produces it. It's like, great stuff, man. But it's actually a whole lot more. You're like the wall where everything gets where everybody sticks stuff on, and at the end you're the one who cleans the wall and makes it look like it's actually a painting, because everybody can do all kinds of stuff, but the producer is the guy who's actually at the end. He needs to clean it up and make it look like a product at the end of the day, so that's important for people to understand. Tomek, I want to tell you
more producers
sure
on this show, because of course there is also a group of people who are taking care of the finance stuff. We are more into creative side, me and Steve. There is a bunch of really, really talented, great people who are making sure that we can afford all this and we can actually produce this thing in like the budget we have. So it's a bigger group, and I don't want to take credit for all producers.
I'm not saying you guys are the only ones or the best or the most important. No, everybody's important, absolutely. But there's also the guy who, at the end of the day, there's one guy who cuts the light, when he goes out. And you're probably one of those, So, so I was on set last year. I was one of the few people who actually got to see the set. It was the last days of shooting, so I got to have a chat with everybody there as well. Steve, you weren't there. I'm sorry. So that's why we don't have a story together. How can I say? But the thing that people will see when I get what I shot there, but I was astounded by the size of the production on season 3. Like season 1 was big, of course, but it felt like like the first season of a show. Season 2 felt a lot bigger than season 1, but still. But season 3, I was just blown away by the size of the enterprise, So how does it feel especially for Tomek now? This is like Tomek, you need to chip in on this one. Both of you actually, because but at least Steve worked on Oblivion, so he worked on and he worked on Beauty and the Beast, so he saw all kinds of big ass shooting scenes. How is it for you, transitioning from the initial stage of The Witcher to this one? And the second question, it's a 2-part question. Are we going even bigger than this? For season 4?
I will start. So that's the spoiler I can reveal. Yes, we are going bigger. So that's because also when you know the books, you know where roughly the story goes, and where we are going with our characters roughly, because of course there will be some
changes, of course,
deviations and changes, and it's inevitable, but you can imagine where we are going. As for the scale of season 3, it's extremely exciting and extremely amazing for me to watch how this show grows and how the production grows, and this is what I always wanted to do. But I think there is one thing which is more like philosophical. I like difficult things, and making stories and making shows like that, making this fantasy stories real, alive, it's incredibly difficult. And there is a ton of amazing, super talented people who are working on it. We are just 2 of them. There is hundreds of people who are working on this show, on those huge sets, on those great choreographies, on little things, on the buttons, in the costume, on the weapons, and stuff like that. So to watch this, it's like watching like the almost impossible endeavor happening, because those things are difficult. It's like working in the real world. It's not just virtually moving things around and letting computer render it. No, it's huge it's very, very complicated. Although VFX side and Steve, I think can also tell a lot about this. Also includes ton of people and ton of great artists.
But I think also a lot of that perception of it being bigger and also more polished, more, not polished in a aesthetic way, but just more professional, more high end.
It feels
comes from long form, all of the benefits of long form storytelling, because we have an entire crew that is also on this long form storytelling journey with us. And we have heads of departments who return season after season, and they want to do better than they did the previous season. They want to deliver something a little bit more special than they did the previous season. When you have sort of that mind meld groupthink, everybody aiming for the same loftier goals, it comes across on the screen in a palpable, as you said, palpable way, which is it's great to hear feedback from you that people are actually seeing that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we are. They're telling me I need to wrap it up. Well, a minute ago. I just want to tell you one more thing. I want you to say it actually for everybody else. Should people be excited for season 4 and 5? Because some people, they say like, maybe changes this and that. Should people be excited about them?
Absolutely.
Once people see the first episode of season 4, I think they will get excited very easily. That's all I can say.
That's good to hear.
I think once people watch episode 8 of season 3, they won't be able to help themselves from being like, I must continue this journey with them.
Cool. Time to end. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you, Tomek. I wish I would have had more time, but we'll probably meet you on set next year if we'll come to visit. Thank you again. Thank you for a good job. Have faith in the fandom, and I'll see you next then. Take care. Bye-bye. Have fun.
See you next time. Thank you.
Sper că v-au plăcut interviurile. Pentru mine a fost o plăcere să discut din nou cu oamenii ăștia. Când am fost pe set visit, tot ce pot să vă spun este că toată lumea era hands-on, toată lumea făcea lucruri bune acolo. Acum, că o să fie oameni care trolează, oameni care nu vor, oameni care nu apreciază, oameni care au fel de chestii de spus, e treaba lor, nu e nicio problemă. O să vină și un interviu, faptul discuție liberă pe care am avut-o cu Lauren Schmidt, acolo pe platouri, o să vedeți mai multe chestii. Noi eram în platou în ultima zi în care filma Graham McTavish, am văzut ultima scenă, tot ce însemna toată nebunia aia, vreo 7 take-uri, o să vedeți acolo, sper să vă placă. Asta de vorbă că aici după aceea am luat prânzul practic cu McTavish la final și o să vedeți și clipul aia când o să vină. Dar între timp nu uitați, nemira.ro, încă ceva 45 pentru discount 45%. La fara să le mulțumesc celor pe Patreon, cerem cumpărarea încă ceva, fără de voi ce ar fi absolut imposibile și până data viitoare nu rămâne cât să vă urez vizionarea plăcută, numai de bine, baftă!